Well, big updates coming in on the Rajasthan rebellion. Here's some breaking news that has just come in. Sources indicate on the Rajasthan revolt that has hit the Congress president's race. What sources indicate is that Gehlot is not likely to opt out of the race. Sources also say that the Rajasthan CM will now wait for the High Command's decision. Niyamika joining us live for more on this. Niyamika, this is getting more and more interesting. The fact that Mr. Gehlot now is on the spotlight for multiple reasons. One of them being whether he has orchestrated a sort of a coup to block Sachin Pilot from getting the CM's post, and whether he actually plans to get hold of the Congress president's position and take all the decisions. What is the latest that we are getting? It seems the Gehlot has made up his mind not to back out of the Congress president's race.
Well, certainly whatever happened yesterday in the meeting of the rebel MLAs who basically belong to the Gehlot camp, the Congress leadership is quite disappointed over the matter, and that is the reason why the Congress president has also called an emergency meeting of the AICC General Secretary with Vijay Patel and Mallikarjun Kharge, who were being sent to Jaipur as the AICC senior observers to look at this whole matter. And they had also called a meeting of the Congress Legislative Party yesterday evening, which was being skipped by as many as 92 MLAs who were basically raising a demand not to appoint any other person for the post of the Chief Minister after Ashok Gehlot gets appointed as the Congress president. And for that matter, they had also given out their resignation to this Speaker CP Joshi as a mark of protest against the Congress leadership. So all the development that took place yesterday, the Congress president and the Congress leadership was quite disappointed over the matter, and that is the reason why this emergency meeting has been called today. And for that matter, now the recent development which is taking place, according to the sources, it is being informed that Ashok Gehlot is now out of the race of the Congress president because whatever has happened yesterday. Meanwhile, Ashok Gehlot had said that this is not in the hands and this is the basic demand of the Congress MLAs. But these are the MLAs who basically belong to the Gehlot camp, and it was being expected that this was a well-planned strategy of Ashok Gehlot, as he has been continuously saying that he will do whatever the Congress leadership would decide, and that is the reason why he had given out clear indication to KC Venugopal as well. But on the other hand, it was the MLAs of his camp, and he was, he can take the situation under control, but he failed to do so. Even the AICC observers failed to convince all these MLAs to select one name as the successor of Ashok Gehlot for the post of Congress, for the post of Rajasthan Chief Minister.
Amika, for joining us with that update. Okay, let me go across to Mr. Lokesh Jindal, who's joining the program right now, political analyst, joining us with clear perspectives on this, something that we want to understand better. Good evening, Mr. Jindal. The fact of the matter is that, this entire narrative is playing out at multiple levels. At one level, of course, there is the Congress presidential race. Another level, the entire rebellion that has, really become a twist in the tail when it comes to Rajasthan. Where do you see this headed? Mr. Gehlot, it seems, has realized the kind of support base that he has. It seems he has got a good display of his bargaining power. Do you think finally Gehlot will have his way?
The Gehlot government has done a splendid job in Rajasthan. There's no doubt about it. In fact, if you look at education sector, healthcare sector, all the social services scheme, everywhere it has performed exceptionally well. And all the MLAs, they have been quite happy with their leader, Mr. Ashok Gehlot. And now, along with this, recently in the Udaipur Chintan Shivir, there was a resolution moved that there would be one person, one post. One more additional resolution was moved that one family, one post. So, when you talk about these forms of reforms within the Congress party,
but Mr. Gehlot had made a response when asked about this one man, one post. He said that only applies to nominated candidates. It does not apply to people who are elected. Is that correct?
It all depends in the spirit with which these forms of resolutions are adopted. If we talk about the Udaipur Chintan Shivir,
Yes.
it basically aimed at reforms within the Congress organization. The idea underneath this was that more and more Congress workers, more and more congressmen, they should find their way. They should be given chance so that they could come out and display their abilities and capabilities. So the idea was somehow to provide a level playing field, some form of a field for the younger generations to come up as well. So with this particular spirit, this entire reform process was put into action in the elections that began in May, June this year, and they would be commencing in October 2022. Now,
Yes.
within this particular spirit only, Ashok Gehlot Sahab, in August himself, he proposed that he would resign as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. And he was ready to take over to contest the elections which are due in October 2022. However, when you talk about the MLAs, more than 100 MLAs are there with the Congress government. They are skeptical in accepting any leader other than Gehlot Sahab. So we are not undermining the integrity of Pilot Sahab, but the faith is more, the trust is more on Gehlot Sahab's administration and Gehlot Sahab's government.
Isn't this absolutely incredible that the Congress leadership never had a whiff of this, that the moment they think of installing Sachin Pilot there in Rajasthan, that there could be a rebellion against it, that the internal, sentiment is not in favor of Pilot. How is it that the Congress top leadership was completely unaware of it?
It is a political, you can say, it's something which is quite a political tradition. Whenever there is a way that is paved, there's a way for the young Turks or the younger sections. There is some form of a resistance from the conservative.
But this is not some form of resistance, Mr. Jindal. This is like 80 plus MLAs are in favor of Gehlot, and the Congress top management didn't have an idea that this could happen, which means they have no clue on what things are like on ground, that it is simply not as easy to have a formula like bring Gehlot as the Congress president and let Mr. Pilot be the Rajasthan CM. That kind of a simple formula, of course, was not to work out, and the leadership perhaps did not envisage it.
No, I would object over here. The point is, in a sangathan, in an organization, whenever we are having a dissent, there are steps taken so as to bring about some form of a consensus. So, keeping this in mind only, the High Command was well aware that any particular reform, it is bound to bring dissent from certain sections of the organization. Okay. And therefore, the High Command, it took its decision so as to reach out to every legislator, every worker, and have their views on board while taking any decision forward. So this particular input that the High Command has received, it is taken on board. And according to this, the High Command shall take a wise decision so that the decision that is taken at the center is democratic and acceptable to all. So it is not any form of a biasness that is taking place, any form of a favoritism that is taking place. In fact, opinions of all would be considered, and only then the High Command would be taking the decision. So I would say
it reflects, I'm sorry, it reflects rather poorly on the leadership, because it reflects that they have been caught unawares, that they did not know which way the wind was blowing, that you have a situation where you call the MLAs to attend a meeting with the two observers, with Mallikarjun Kharge and Ajay Makhan, and your MLAs land up somewhere else to attend another parallel meeting in complete defiance. This is insubordination of the worst kind, and yet you are helpless at the moment, because other than trying to crack the whip and say some disciplinary action will be taken, what else can the Congress party do, Congress leadership do?
After the MLAs, they expressed their desire. They wanted Gehlot Sahab to be the Congress party president also, as well as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. So that was what was their desire. And that was unacceptable because the Udaipur resolution has taken up a resolve so as to bring about reform within the working of the organization. So it is up
But
to
a resolution is not the be-all and end-all. There is a certain way that politics work, and that one must have a grasp of it. I'm sorry, I'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks, Mr. Jindal, for joining us in this interesting conversation.